Hi, good afternoon. We are here at Broccolo Garden Center. I'm Jessica. I am the general manager here at Broccolo, and I'm here with Lori Broccolo. And we're just going to talk to you a little bit today about how we can integrate some of the edible landscape plants into your existing gardens, or create spaces of their own to create maybe some different themed gardens and things along those lines.
And I have to add, Jessica is a cook, and so she has all her own recipes that we love to put together. And you'll talk a little bit more about that too, right?
Yeah.
The salsa garden, what do we need there, and the salad garden and all that. And I'm not a big cook, but I do love plants and the textures and the whole understanding of how they all work together. So
Yeah.
looking forward to sharing.
And in plants too, edible plants can be also integrated into your landscape for aesthetic value, as well as what you can eat from it as well. So you don't have to be overwhelmed by thinking, oh, I have to create a huge vegetable garden and I have to till in yards of manure or compost, and I think that scares people off a little bit, where you can just find little nooks and crannies in your existing landscape or along your foundation of your home, and incorporate some of these different plants, especially some of them like I think Lori had her hands on some chard over here, which is what, rainbow colors.
Swiss chard. This is the prettiest plant, and when it gets large enough, I mean, the color, these rainbow colors are fascinating. And I don't cook with it, but fortunately I do have an aunt who comes over, harvests it, and then she makes some for me.
Oh, that's
but
nice.
I plant it every year just because it's so darn pretty.
And and before I get into maybe the different themed gardens, and I think that this is another thing that people ask about a lot, and especially when it comes to planting lettuces and things like that, people say, well, aren't the rabbits just going to eat everything? And what can I do to kind of keep that from happening? So my answer is always to get a cat or something.
That's the best. It's
It
definitely
really
the best. But I have seen some customers take that black netting that you can't really see the black netting, and they just put it over their plantings, and the deer absolutely hate it. And so the plants can actually kind of grow up through them, and you can even harvest that. I picked these all up because I started looking at just the combinations and the designs
Of the lettuces.
Look at these colors.
Yes.
Aren't they gorgeous? What do we have here? We have red cabbage, multicolored spinach, kale, which everybody has to have these in their smoothies, according to my husband. No, he actually hates it, but he loves smoothies. More of the bright lights, the Swiss chard.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
And we do have some other mixes over here, like the spinach and those other lettuces that combine together to give you different color, textures, and different flavors in your garden. I just wanted to mention, excuse me, one other kind of method that people try to keep the rabbits out of eating their cabbage and their lettuces is you can get a sprinkler that is motion activated. So when the little guy comes over there to eat, it squirts him with water and scares them away. I've heard it work before, but maybe. So anyway, I want to talk about maybe doing a themed garden if you were looking to do let's just say a classic vegetable garden. In a lot of the things that you can include in that are your nice big cucumbers, and you want to put these in a space where they've got something to crawl up usually, and that could be something as inexpensive as running a piece of string up and attaching it to a dowel or something on your home. So that needs something to climb up, and maybe if you have a fenced-in backyard, you can grow this up along the fence, and it can even go across that chain link and give you a little privacy. And so that can really give you a nice wall of privacy by putting a nice batch of cucumbers in. And then we also, can incorporate some of the beans and peas into a classic vegetable garden, which again needs something to climb up. So these are the kind of the climbing ones that you would use almost in the background. And then in the foreground, you can have things like eggplant, you know, that can kind of sprawl a little bit on its own. That doesn't really necessarily want to, you know, climb as much as like a cucumber or a pea would. And then, you know, we've got all of our tomatoes and things over there, but we'll talk about that when we can talk about our salsa garden.
As you were describing that, I just started thinking about how we talk with customers about flowers and flower arranging in containers, and we always talk about the thrillers, the things that are up in the middle, and that's, you know, when you said that, that's the thrillers.
The thrillers and the spillers, right?
The spillers, yep, and the fillers. So the eggplant, tomatoes would be fillers, and maybe the herbs would be the spillers.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so you can create that layering effect.
Right, I like that idea. And, you know, there's also, you know, sometimes you can look at things like a nasturtium and never think for a second that you could eat this flower. I have this growing on my windowsill in a box, and I reach out and pick it, and I incorporate it into salads pretty much every week. So the nasturtium jewel mix is my favorite variety.
You look like Martha Stewart.
I do. You know what? My mother used to idolize her, and I have all of her cookbooks, Martha Stewart, and now she's taken another path. So let's just kind of look down the row here at some of these other. Look how big these tomatoes are. So if you were looking at doing something like I love doing a salsa garden, and you don't need a lot of space to do a salsa garden. You basically just need a couple of nice tomato plants. We've got some cilantro over here in our herbs. And, you know, growing some garlic bulbs is very easy. Anybody can do that. You basically just plop some.
In salsa?
What's in salsa? So you're going to chop up tomatoes, you're going to chop up fresh cilantro, and you almost don't need anything more than a couple of limes to go along with that. It should be fresh, and it should be, you know, cut up right from your garden. I think that's the best kind of salsa, not the jarred stuff that seems saucy in the store.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just a matter of fresh
Do you
vegetables.
put peppers in it ever?
I don't like peppers in it myself, but a lot of people like to incorporate the hot peppers.
Oh.
So it's all a matter of your, you know, tolerance to spices. So you can certainly use some habaneros if you're brave, or some jalapenos. And do we have any hot peppers over in the area?
We do. We have jalapenos. We have long red slim. Wow. And
You know what?
hot red cherry tomatoes. And I know I ordered poblanos because that's one I actually like to grill. I don't grill a lot of vegetables, but poblanos are so delicious.
Oh, okay. Poblanos are nice for grilling. So these are peppers I probably wouldn't grow. These are very hot. These are the Scoville.
Oh.
My dad or my brother would be all over these, and you know, and it's when it comes to the grilling thing, the guys love these hot peppers.
I think it's like a challenge to each other.
It is.
Father's Day is a great time that families come in and buy a lot of the growing vegetables.
Yes.
For that weekend. Yeah.
Oh, right.
For Daddy as a gift.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've experienced the hot pepper eating competitions many days by my pool where there's been hiccuping and couldn't handle it.
Crazy.
But anyway, the jalapeno is actually an easy one to grow, and it's a little more mild than you expect it to be. And so that's one that I actually enjoy growing. Now the some of the other ones, maybe not so much for me, but
here's your cilantro.
so there's the cilantro.
I love that smell.
And then you've got your Italian parsley too, which are both staples. And if you're going to do a salsa garden, or if you're going to try and do like a classic Italian garden, you're most certainly going to want this with parsley, maybe not the cilantro as much in a classic Italian garden, but you've got the Roma tomatoes, your parsley, and we've got things like fennel.
Basil.
Yep.
Another one this is one I actually do pick and throw in my tomato salad.
Look at the size of that basil plant, the smell of it. And this is actually used a lot in Italian cooking, is the fennel. and it can be roasted and flavored, you know, in lots of different dishes. I love fennel.
Now I have a landscape comment about fennel.
Okay.
That is also a host to the swallowtail butterflies. And so, and it grows really easily, so no worries. They couldn't possibly eat enough of your fennel to make a difference, but it's so great to actually find them there. And then,
I never knew that.
And I love that. Herbs for pollinators are one of the best plants. If you let them go to flower, they are one of the best plants to bring in other pollinators to help you with your tomatoes and cucumbers and peppers.
Well, that's, I mean, and I love with fennel too, you can use the top and chop up the top fronds. My favorite part is what grows underneath, and it's the bulb under the ground that you can chop up and dice up and use in all sorts of dishes. And you can also use the fronds of the fennel along with a lemongrass or this chamomile here to create really fantastic teas. And so we've got some ideas on tea gardens that you can use.
I'm thinking cutting flowers that goes, the real feathery foliage that you were just showing.
Oh yeah,
Goes so pretty with some cutting flowers in a vase.
Does this bloom?
It actually does. It looks kind of like the Queen Anne's lace flowers.
Oh, okay.
It's a little yellowish.
Oh, how pretty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
See, a lot of
So you
these
could
things haven't come to flower yet, but just like you've got some annuals that you can mix in with your vegetables to kind of create more of an aesthetic look.
Marigolds and garlic that you talked about, things that smell, herbs, they have a strong smell, help keep the deer away and other critters. And then zinnia, and there's so many different kinds, are just gorgeous to put. In fact, you can even eat their petals. But this is one of the best pollinator butterfly plants that attracts wonderful critters to your yard. And yes, we do want those kind of critters.
Well, of course we do. We just don't want them, you know, taking it all. But we like to share.
We can share.
Yeah.